because there were no other celebrity chefs, we were like, okay, how do celebrity chefs actually make money? Because it's true. Especially to your audience now, everyone's talking about their passion and their meaning in life, but I'm going to tell you the truth. You got to put food on the table. A lot of y'all are very lucky to have parents and living your parents and whatever not, with the current situation of real estate being so expensive, whatever not. Live with your parents. If you want to live with your parents, you're okay with that. Live with your parents because you're saving so much money. But at the end of the day, right, if you're living on your own, if you're struggling, the truth of the matter is, where do we put passion when we don't have food on the table?
Hey everyone, before we begin this next episode of the Hello Mentor podcast, I just want to say, if you're job searching or hiring, check out hiredly.com. We are not just another job platform. We make it easier to find the jobs that people actually want, and we help companies stand out to hire the right talent. So there's a lot of smart tech and there's a lot of human touch. That's Hiredly. So you can head to hiredly.com and give it a go. Hey everyone, it's the next episode of the Hello Mentor podcast, and we have a special guest with us today. We have Abang Brian.
Hello.
Hi. Do I call you Abang or do I call you Brian?
Abang Brian. So I always tell people that Abang Brian is my two first names. So imagine someone called Jean-Michel, Jean-Pierre. So you call them JP. People call me AB. But Abang Brian is my two first names. It's part of the story that I'll tell you about. But internationally, people call me Abang Brian. Even Dato Siti Noeliza in Malaysia calls me Abang Brian. It has just become my name. Right, it's like the word in Malaysia, abang, means elder brother, right? And they'll be like, wait, I'm older than you. I shouldn't be calling you abang. I should be calling you adik, right? But I'm like, no, it just became who I am, and it is part of my name. It's my first name now. And so, whenever I write books, even my publications, it's always Abang Brian.
Oh, love it. Yeah. You have two first names, Is this one name, Abang Brian?
So like two first names, I mean like anyone who is like, Chinese, you have like Chan Lok Siu, right? So Lok Siu is your two first names, right? So why not Abang Brian? Come on, guys, Abang Brian.
All right, I guess I'm calling you Abang Brian. Can you tell our audience a bit about yourself?
So I do know that your audience is a little bit younger. So usually when I meet people who are listening in, people who are in the age group that is listening in, and people who are actually your target audience for Hiredly as well, I will always tell them, ask your mom. Right? Usually they will always tell me like, I don't know who you are, but my mom says hi. Okay. And so I was one of those people who graduated from MasterChef Malaysia, and that was a good like 14 years ago. It's no longer in Malaysia because I think we stopped at season 4 or 5. So for the younger generations, they'll be like, oh, okay, who is this person again? But usually they'll be like, my mom says hi. I don't know why, but my mom says hi. Or when you go to grocery shopping, a makcik will come up to me and go like, oh, masak apa tu? And so I basically transitioned my career. I started off typically like every Asian boy, studying very hard, encouraged to do very well in his study. And I was a nerd ever since I was young. And I believe in lifelong education. And I just finished my PhD. So I've been like in education since the beginning of time. And I never paid for my education ever since I was 50. So I was that kind of kid, right? They told me to study. I studied hard. Whether I liked it or not, I'm not very sure, but I just, give me something and I'll kind of do well at it. And, so I did well, and they all told me like, being Asian again, you either be a doctor or you become a lawyer like my sister, who was on a few weeks ago. And then my sister is Sarah Chan Spellings. Okay. So we had the same surname. Okay. So that kind of ties this in. But so we either did any one of those, and finance was one of the options. And even finance, my dad was like, don't just do business, do something really specific and be a professional. And so I did finance and accounting. Graduated, and then came back, and I had a job that was waiting for me because I was a scholar. And I started in oil and gas. I got a scholarship, and I studied in France. I do speak French very fluently. And when I was interviewed by the HR VP at that time, I told her, Dato, I know that I have to serve my bond. I know I will work with the company. I believe in the role that the company does in nation building. Without saying the name, I think we all know who I'm talking about, oil and gas nation building. And I want to serve this company, and I also want to serve the country. And she said, but I said, I know I graduated from finance accounting, honors, whatever. But if you put me in accounts, I will just not sit still. I will die. I literally said I will die, right? Because I love talking to people. I can't sit still. I love numbers, but don't put me in a typical accounts or finance position, which I respect anyone doing finance accounts so much because you have the position and you have the patience to actually go through everything. I love y'all for doing what you do. That's not who I am. I told her that. And she said, perfect. I got a perfect job for you. And because I was a scholar, I was just like, okay, great. And I was just waiting for a letter, right? So the letter came and it says group internal audit. And I was like, first and foremost, awesome, because I get to travel. I get to back then we had a few hundred subsidiaries. And so we have to, because we're at a group level, we get to see the whole business, and it's good for a young person to actually absorb the whole business and learn a lot of things. And I kid you not, because, I think there were issues like fraud, right? Which is something that auditors love. Okay, this invigorates us. But then also I had to count soya beans. I had to count, and I think you've gone through this as well because you were from external audit.
I just do external audit, yes.
Yeah. And so we count all sorts of things, right? And we go through all sorts of, but that really, really kind of, gave me a start to, my career and solidify who I am, because I was very business, process driven. I was taught to be very meticulous. I was taught to be very friendly to people, although at the end of the day, some people were not very friendly to you. But yeah, so I did a good 2 years, 3 years, actually no, 4, 5 years there. I was very happy. I was truly very happy at my job. I love what I was doing. I think it was very purposeful. And I still love meeting people, but I realized people wasn't, after a while, they don't really like meeting you.
Reciprocate the feeling.
Yeah, but it taught me to have a thicker skin as well, which really, really helped me on in my later part of my career. But then I think also when my sister was here, she shared with you that my father actually had cancer. And that was the moment when my whole world crumbled, right? Because we're very family-based and they're very family-centered. And it was the first person that we knew that had cancer, and we didn't know what to do, right? And it is because of that I started cooking for him, right? So my sister, when she was around, she told you that she took on the business. And in line with what she does in Lean In, we believe that everyone will do well in the society when everyone leans in, right? So when she took over the business, I had to take over the kitchen, right? The house, right? So we literally did gender switching, like gender role switching, right? Where you would expect usually the males to go into business and then the females to take care of the home, right? But we did opposite.
Oh.
And so I did not know how to cook. I only learned through YouTube. And I was just driven by the love for my father, because he had specific dietary requirements, which I just kind of YouTube it and kind of figure it out along the way. And after 6 months cooking for him, I kind of realized that life is short, right? And, you just got to kind of do what you want to do. And so me and my friends started this really fun thing where, because life is short, we want to do one different thing every single week. Okay. Whether it's bungee jumping, whether it's skydiving, whether it's just taking a different route to work, right? Life is so short, so just leave it, right? So every week we'll pledge to do something different. And when it came to my week, we've done it all, right? Bungee jumping, we did the Sunway Lagoon one, not the awesome, in New Zealand style, but at least we did bungee jumping, right? But then when it came to my turn, 1 week, I was like, oh, what do I do now? And I was at the gym and I was cycling, and I saw this advertisement for MasterChef Malaysia come on. And I've been only cooking for 6 months. And I told them, hey, you know what? I'm going to apply for this as my crazy thing for the week. And my only intention was to apply. and show them, which was a very laborious task because this is reality show, right? They actually ask you to answer like 20 questions, and that's like 20 pages long, and like they need to know everything about you, right? Because that's how they make really good reality shows. And I did that, print out the application and show my friends like, hey, this is my crazy thing for the week. Next thing I know, they called me. Come cook in front of the judge. Okay, I cooked in front of the judge. Then they said, come and meet Astro because MasterChef Malaysia was brought in by Astro. We'll do a personality test. One thing led to another. I finished in the top few of MasterChef Malaysia season 1, and it kind of changed my life. And actually, at the top 10 position, I was put at a intersection between where it was really hard for me because like they knew that at the same time my father was not well at home. At the top 10 position, my dad was rushed to the hospital. And being in a reality show, you're locked up for a good 6 months. Like our show, because we had 56 episodes to shoot, it was a good 6 months that we were locked away, and we were not allowed to be, with public and get out of the whole setting. But because of that emergency, I was led to go visit my father in the hospital, and I was like, I can come home, right? Because MasterChef aprons, there are plenty, right? I can go back for season 2, and I would say like aprons are plenty, but I only had one father. But he said to me, hey, I don't know what you're doing, but we see something in you that lit up that is different. So just go do that, right? And so once I got his blessing, I went back to the MasterChef kitchen, and I finished in the top few. And I know that ever since I was on TV, what I did was I found my biggest purpose in life, which was to share. My word in life is sharing, right? I was sharing my journey. I was sharing my food with people. I was sharing my story with people because I know I was not the only one going through this journey, right? So fast track that a little bit. I only finished in the top 8. But I kind of said, this is what I want to do in my life. I quit my corporate job, which I was well on the way, right? As I did my ACCA, right? Or ICAW, all these people, it's like very, very like textbook. You suffer for 4 years, do audit, do your ACCA, become a chartered accountant. You're on a chartered path to, a very good life, right? I decided to give up on that because I found this passion of mine, this joy of mine in the kitchen. And back then, I think the only celebrity chefs you knew were Chef One, Chef Florence, Chef Kamarul, Ismail, the hotai, we call them, of the industry, right? But in between that, there was no one else, right? And then suddenly MasterChef happened. And then we had a flooding of celebrity chefs, right? And I even got people telling me things like, oh, this is like bagaikan cendawan tumbuh selepas hujan. It's like suddenly you got so many one, like, are they for real or not, right? And so they're like, oh, all this chef mine. And I've always been someone who believes in education. I was like, okay, you guys think this is mine, fine. So I did my qualifications in Cordon Bleu, and that really kind of upped my skill and kind of gave me more confidence in the culinary world. But like, I remember. It wasn't easy because like once I transitioned, because there were no other celebrity chefs, we were like, okay, how do celebrity chefs actually make money? Because it's true. Especially to your audience now, yeah, everyone's talking about their passion and their meaning in life, yeah, but I'm going to tell you the truth. You got to put food on the table. A lot of y'all are very lucky to have parents and living your parents and whatever not, with the current situation of real estate being so expensive, whatever not. Live with your parents. If you want to live with your parents, you're okay with that. Live with your parents because you're saving so much money. But at the end of the day, right, if you're living on your own, if you're struggling, the truth of the matter is, where do we put passion when we don't have food on the table? Right? And that really hit me because that really happened to me. I was chasing my passion so much that I remember my lowest moment where I think back in the days, this is how old I am. Back in the days, we still use coins to pay for parking. And I was not far from here. I was at the curve. And I think it was after gym or after something, and I wanted to get out the parking. And I didn't have a single dollar in my pocket or in my account to even pay for parking. That I was like, never mind. I panicked. I was like, okay, but no more money. How to even pay for parking to get out of the parking? I started searching on the floor of my Myvi. Because I'm a guy, I'm very like messy, right? Sometimes we drop coins everywhere. So I was searching for coins and I found 1 ringgit. Back then still 1 ringgit. That's how old I am. I found 1 ringgit of coins and then I went to the machine and then I realized, oh no, they're transitioning. No more paying through coins. Now you have to pay through like cash or touch and go. So I couldn't get out of the parking and I had to actually call my sister to save me from the parking, and that was my lowest point in my life. Because after MasterChef, the reality of it, people who want to be content creator, who want to be celebrity chefs, who want to be actors, who want to go into entertainment industry, that's the reality of it. It's not that easy, right? And we didn't know how to make money. And I literally went broke, right? And then my father told me, I think I went home. We have always been a very close family, and we always talk things over the dinner table. And I remember the whole family crying together because they don't know how to help me. Right? Because my family are all from the corporate background, and that's why they push us towards corporate. And now here's someone who wants to do culinary and entertainment, and they had no idea how to help me. For the life of me, they were like, all they could do is cry, right? Because they see me in pain. They see me wanting this so much, but they couldn't help, right? But my dad said this very cliche thing to me. He said, what is the one thing that you would do if no one paid you at all? And of course, food was in there, right? But I remember when I was in Paris, I graduated from University of Paris. And because I was a scholarship holder, anyone who's a scholar, you would know that if you are in big cities, the scholarship is not enough, right? So what I did, I had to work part-time in Disneyland. So I used to work part-time in Disneyland. I remember my time with the children, and I used to volunteer to help with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, where we fulfill the dying wish of kids. A lot of kids who are chronically ill, their last wish is to come to Disneyland. And so I bring them around the park, and because I speak a lot of languages, they would always put me in charge of certain groups of children. And we had one group of children which was from Algeria, and usually they spoke French. They grew up speaking French in school, right? But they had to go to school. But this group of children, they still have not gone to school, but they're chronically ill. And they were with a chauffeur, like someone who is supposed to help translate, right? But the chauffeur or the person who was accompanying them was enjoying Disneyland so much, they kind of forgot about the kids. And I was with the kids and I was speaking French all the time, and they were speaking Algerian to me. But I always remember that moment of spending the whole day with them. Although we spoke different languages, there was that connection there. So I knew in my heart, children was somehow another part of my calling. So I Googled children cooking, and that's how I found my then business partner, who started Young Chefs Academy. I would say that as soon as I found my place in education as a teacher, my whole life changed. Because as soon as I got out of MasterChef, like everyone else, I used to be very shy of saying this, but like I will tell you the truth is, everyone will want to chase that glitz and glamour of TV, of entertainment, of social media, of having millions of followers, right? Everybody will chase that. And when you go into entertainment, when you say that, make sure your head don't get too big, I'll tell you, no, your head will get big, but it's how soon you realize that it's gotten too big, right? And I realized that when I was trying to be a celebrity chef, my intention was not at the right place. I was chasing the glitz, the glamour, the money. But when I found Young Chefs Academy, and when I found my calling in teaching, and that is a extension of sharing, right? When I changed my intention, and in Malaysia we believe in niat. When I changed my niat, everything just happened. The TV deals came, the book deals came, the radio deal came, everything came when I realized that, hey, I was put on this earth for a different purpose, right? Money is important, but how you get the money is very important. Your intention is very important. When I shifted that intention, life kind of worked with me, and I felt that I was riding the wave and not fighting the wave, right? And so, long story short, after everything, I now have written about 7 cooking books, 2 of which have International Gourmand Cookbook Award, nominations, and also it's been given international awards. I've done cooking shows internationally, locally. I have actually taught in 2 of the top culinary institutions of the world. I have served Le Cordon Bleu, which we all know is the oldest cooking school in the world. And anyone who is from the culinary world will tell you, if you say Le Cordon Bleu, it's a revered name. It's like the big fours in the audit world, right? If you say KPMG, you say the friends there, we all know, right? So Le Cordon Bleu, it's like everyone, it's revered, right? And then when I moved to America, to be closer to my sister, Le Cordon Bleu doesn't exist in America for the sole purpose of, I don't go into it, but they don't exist. They used to exist until a certain time, and then something happened. And so I served the company that used to own Le Cordon Bleu. And now they have another school called Escoffier. So that's what I do now. And yeah, so I have had a whirlwind of a career. But
And you're teaching now in this Escoffier.
yes, so I teach, and I'm also a private chef, and I also run a media company with my sister. We're trying to manage our family office. And what else do I do? I have had the honor of cooking in Paris, Beverly Hills as a private chef. And so I do a myriad of things that is centered around the word sharing.
Right.
So whether it's cooking for a group of people, facilitating conversations around multi-billion-dollar deals and stuff, or it's just talking on radio, or it's just writing a cooking book, or it's just being here talking to you. My word is to share, right? And that's my calling, and that makes me happy every single day. Right. I think the person who joined me recently, one of the person that we employed recently asked me, oh no, I think we're having a discussion of like, what's my brand? And my sister was like, so what is it, the thing that you enjoy most doing? What's the thing you enjoy most that you do today? And I said, and I cried because I said, oh, there's nothing that I do that I don't enjoy. I'm so blessed to be given the opportunity to enjoy everything that I do. And anyone who knows my sister, right, Sarah Chen Spellings, who is the co-founder of the $1 Billion Fund for Women and one of the founders of Leaning Malaysia, she talks about moving and mobilizing billions of dollars around the world. But that is her thing, which is beautiful. But I know what's my thing, and it doesn't involve gazillions of dollars, but it involves me sharing. And any capacity that I'm given, any opportunity that I'm given to share, I feel happy and blessed.
Yeah, and I was so fascinated because, in this story, obviously the one big unlock that you had was you sort of discovered, as you used the word niat, right? Like your purpose, right? And just that discovery sort of opened so many different doors for you. There are many people out there, in their careers that are always wondering whether they are in the right place, or is it because they both found their purpose, or maybe an overused word is like passion or something. But why am I here? Like, so how does someone, I'm not sure how to even give concrete advice, but how does someone discover that?
How did someone discover the passion? Let me bring my cooking books here that's offset and show you how to discover your passion.
Can someone help? Come.
So, I think a lot of people are the difficulty is when you want to discover that one passion. I feel that people always say that, okay, I still haven't found my passion. I don't know what's my passion. Because I think deep down inside is guided by the belief that you might only have one passion in life. And there's only one thing that you're meant to do. But the truth of the matter is, you will not know unless you try multiple things. Okay? And it's the same with the cooking books that I have here. Which there are some that focus on desserts, 2 that focus on health. One is written with the National Cancer Society of Malaysia for cancer patients. One is for kidney patients with the National Kidney Foundation of Malaysia. And there's one for kids. And then they're like, and this is what my branding manager will always say, like, so actually, what's your brand? Right? Because first you talk about desserts, then you talk about cancer, then you talk about children, right? So what is your brand? And I think this is the reason why sometimes people find the search for passion very difficult because they put passion in a box and they're trying to label passion. Like, I would say, like, find your word. Like, my word is share. My word is sharing. So if it manifests in different forms, I will still be happy. Instead of saying like, oh, I want to be an actor, or I want to be an accountant, or I want to be a architect, or I want to be a videographer. What is it about videography? What is it about accounting that actually you like, right? And I think that when you put so much boundaries and definitions of what that thing is that's going to be, that's going to make you happy and what your passion is, it's going to like kind of make it very difficult for you to find it. Because I feel that that's one thing that I realized when I focused on the niyat, which is my intention, and also my word, which is share. I let go of like, oh, it has to be like this. This is my passion. This, you know, instead of putting it in a box, I open the box, I focus on what's inside the box and let the shape manifest itself. Right? And that's why I think that one way to realize that you are in this kind of situation is like, if you feel like you're constantly fighting life, you feel like you're going against a stream, it's because you are too uptight with your definitions. I'm not saying don't be anything at all, don't have any definition, don't have a passion at all, but in searching for your passion, let it flow. But find the concrete fundamental that guides that passion. How it manifests, let life help you and guide you. Because I think, like your show, which is called Hello Mentor, right? I think when I was listening to the episode with my sister and she said like, she had good mentors. And I know all her mentors because we're very close as brothers and sisters. And she would tell me who her mentors are and we would talk about it. And she said, I think in her episode that there's no one who can give you that exact one guidance. They can guide you, but they cannot give you the exact advice because they're not you. They're not living your life, right? But to me, who is the best mentor is life. But you got to let it in, right? If you are going to challenge life and say, no, I want to be a videographer. A videographer means I have to work for a company. I have to have these cameras. But why is it that you want to be a videographer? Do you want to caption moments? Do you want to share those moments? Could you do it in another way? So all this becomes difficult when, okay, if I want to be a videographer, I'd have to have all these DSLR cameras, which cost so much. I'm working at McDonald's right now. I don't have money. I come from a difficult background. Boleh lah diorang cakap sebab diorang tinggal kat mana? Damansara. But what if I live in Setia Alam? What if I live in Janda Baik? I don't have access to all this, right? But so then, you come on all these excuses because you're trying to fight this structures that life has put in place, or actually man had put in place. But I think when you question on yourself on what actually is the intention or what actually is your calling behind videography, then you'll find ways, right? So for example, I think in this day of age, when you want to capture a moment, I think almost everyone has a phone. It doesn't have to be even high quality. Even till today, everyone on social media is like, okay, you know what? These people are so many million views or whatever because their quality is so high. True. But do you know what also really sells? When it's so blurred, when it's so like raw, right? So if your intention is about capturing and sharing moments, find different ways of doing it. Let that guide you instead of, oh, if I want to be a videographer, therefore I have to do all this. Same if you want to be an accountant. Right? Not everyone has the opportunity to study in the top universities to get a accounting degree. Not many people get into the Fab Four, we call them the Big Fours, right? Mm-hmm. Right? But what is behind accounting that you love so much that makes you happy, right? Because if you're going to choose a job, which is also called an occupation, why it's called an occupation is because it occupies your life. So you better well make sure that it makes you happy or you're happy doing it, right? Right. So, but you also have to be realistic. Like being happy, I think the biggest word is joy, not just being happy. Because being happy means like, it's convenient to me. It's, but being joy to you, and then you have to be realistic that, it's got to pay the bills, right? If for example, I don't know, if you want to be an actor, right? It's not easy in the market today. But now everyone is an actor, right? Everyone's on social media. You can do your thing. I know a lot of my friends who have found their big thing by just doing social media videos, right? Do you have to go down the traditional road of auditioning all the time? Maybe not. So let your purpose, let that word, your calling guide you instead of the structures that we have built around the word, right? So I think that would be my advice to a lot of people. And I think that's how we work as well with all the people that we have within our organization. Me and my sister, of course, we are on your show because we want to pitch a job, right? We're trying to look for someone who will be able to help us with our brand management, who will be able to also execute some of our social media stuff. So like whenever we put a job description together, someone will ask me like, hey, actually you're looking for but we also want them to do sales. And then they're like, being a recruiter yourself. So is it a sales position, or is it a marketing position, or is it a comms person? I always believe that we're looking for a person who believes and are aligned with our values. That is most important, right? Because then in terms of social media, in terms of branding, marketing and all, you can learn that. But what you can't learn is values, right? So what we're looking for is a person to be almost like a chief of staff who are aligned with our values, who is not shy of learning new things, who is like, for example, you could be someone who is a sales and marketing person, but in terms of the technicalities of producing a video and stuff like that, I mean, if me and my sister, who have no background in video production, we have both our own podcasts. Whether my podcast is the best in the world, I do not know. Whether the quality is not, whether it's the best in the world, I can tell you it is not. Right? I know who I am. I come from the entertainment industry. I know what is my limitations and I know what I produce. It is not. But the content for me is very meaningful because it's called The Hungry Immigrant. I travel the world talking to Asian immigrants around the world about our food culture and how it evolves. And this is the brainchild of my PhD, which has recently been accepted, which focuses on food and culture and the young people. And the reason why I focus on this so much is because we are losing who we are. We do not no longer know what our food is. And when people tell me that they don't even know what is the difference between duduk bersimpuh and duduk bersila, I'm like, then who are we? If you do not know, if you tell me that you go to TikTok because that's where you reference whether food is halal or not, that worries me. When you tell me that because the person has 1 million followers, you trust what they say, that you eat this food and it makes cancer go away, it worries me. Right? So that's what I'm predominantly very obsessed about at the moment, in making sure that we preserve our culture, we preserve the way we learn. And that's why I enjoy my job at Escoffier, because I teach, but I'm also a food researcher. But yeah, so coming back to the passion thing, if my passion was just cooking, I would not be here. I would have not considered teaching, researching food, preserving our culture. We will not be thinking about, I will not be doing all of that. I'll probably still be in the kitchen, which, God forbid, to all the chefs out there, before anyone who is listening in, if you want to become a chef, because you have seen MasterChef, I'm guilty of it as well, because we make it look so easy on camera and on social media. If you want to be a chef, I would advise you to go for an internship or apprenticeship before you actually decide, because being a chef is not easy. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I have done it, and I respect all the chefs out there. Can you imagine going to work before the sun rises and finishing work after the sun sets, which you have done as an auditor? But in the kitchen, imagine that instead of sitting in front of a computer, it's constant fire, it's constant heat, it's constant Gordon Ramsay screaming at you. I'm not saying all kitchens are like that. Gordon does exaggerate a little bit, but it is true. It is very tough, and mental health is an issue within the F&B world, which needs to be addressed. But yeah, it's not as pretty as what people think. So please do your research. Please experience it before you actually like say, oh, I want to, go to cooking school and be a chef. Even before you go to a cooking school, I think all the cooking schools that I serve, I work for now, are not happy, not going to be happy for me saying this, but like before you even go to cooking school, like just spend some time in the kitchen and see if that's what you like, right? But then even if you do cooking school, I'll tell my students, hey, it doesn't mean that you did culinary, that you end up just being in, not just, but like your career limitation is not just the kitchen, right? You can do so much more, right? You could be a food consultant, which I have had the pleasure of leading one of the bakeries for a Michelin recognized chef in DC. But again, if you're like, oh, my passion is to be a chef, I want to be a chef, I want that Michelin star, right? You are so focused on that, which is nothing wrong. If that's really what you want, great. For all those people who have Michelin stars, I respect you with all my heart, right? Do I want a Michelin star? No. Right? Because that's not my point of cooking. My point of cooking is the word share, right? So find your word. Find your word. That's what I'm saying. Even if you do culinary, even if you do whatever you do in your life, if you have that word to guide you, you'll be fine.
Right. In some sense, like purpose and passion doesn't have to be so boxed down into a job.
And rigid.
A specific job, right?
Right. And I think especially with the young people these days, right? A lot of people don't want to just be bogged down with one job description. And I think a lot of the moms and dads probably listening will be like, Abang Brian, what are you saying? You don't have to. You don't have to. I know a lot of people who make millions of dollars not having one job, but having 5 jobs. But the 5 jobs that they do so well because they enjoy it so well that... But uncle, auntie, no stability of job, no guaranteed increment every year, no sick leave, no insurance you have to get yourself. All the stability that comes with working a corporate 9-to-5 job is gone out the window if you want to be an entrepreneur, or like I would say, like when you define entrepreneur, I think everyone's an entrepreneur in their own lives. You manage your own lives, right? You manage your own cash and flow. You manage your own... Yeah, you can be your own entrepreneur, and like you don't have to start a business to be an entrepreneur, right? You can manage different tasks. Even like I know people who work on Fiverr, for example, who have different sources of... And they make more than I do, right? And they have time to be with their family. They have time to walk their dogs. They have time to eat well, right? Because at the end of the day, this is what I always find, especially with food. No matter how successful you are, you will still come back to a chef. You will still come back to food, because when life happens, food is... You can't go on without eating food. And if you have neglected food your whole life, he will say hello later on in the form of disease, in the form of so many things. And like, well, you are young. For people who are young now, just focusing on your food is something that is very, very important. And I think it really plays into every aspect of your life, truly. Because as soon as you eat well, you feel different. You know that. And like, I'm not a person who's going to say like, you've got to do this whole keto thing, or you've got to do this, no sugar. No. Just go back to understanding what eating is. Eating is not putting things in your mouth while you're looking at your phone. How many of us can actually eat on our own and just be still? Right? And I believe that's the solution to obesity. I believe that's the solution to all the eating problems. Just coming back to the real meaning of eating. And I remember in France, recess is not 20 minutes. For the younger kids, it can go up to 1 hour, because eating itself is a class.
Eating is a class.
Eating is a class. Oh. Because it's the most foundation. Because you remember, right? We all sekolah kebangsaan. I grew up in sekolah kebangsaan. Green, you got 20 minutes. You rush to the line. By the time you finish the line, you only have 5 minutes to eat. You gobble everything down and then you go back to class. What happened to the fact? What happened to the enjoyment of the food? What happened to recognizing that every single grain of rice is the sweat and tears of a farmer? What happened to our respect for the auntie who is working so hard? Canteen operators work so hard, but in so little. right? So within that, there's so many lessons. Health, respect for yourself, right? That we are missing out. And I know Kementerian Pendidikan will not be happy with me, but I'm like, guys, you have to do something about it. And I mean, when I was in Malaysia, that's what we tried to do. That's what I tried to work on. I've worked with schools to improve the food that is served in the school canteens. And that's how I know for the first hand that school canteen operators, you all got to give them more credit. They don't earn anything for all the hard work that they do. And sometimes it's not that they don't want to serve certain food. They can't, because they still have to make money, right? So I think there is a gap within our education and our health system that needs to be filled, because congratulations, Malaysia, we are now the fattest country in Southeast Asia and almost Asia, I believe. I think the Minister of Health recently declared that 50.5% of adults are either overweight or obese. So we are going to beat America, right? So I think that something needs to be done, and it starts from home and it starts from us. Because when it comes to hiring and talent management, you're like, oh, why is he talking about food? This is we're talking about talent, right? But what is talent? Talent is people, right? When people don't eat well, they're not going to be good talents. If you look at all the high-performing organizations, people like Google, you just go to the cafeteria. They have all sorts of options that make sure that their employees are healthy, because healthy employees are just better at their work, right? Point blank.
Right.
And I don't want to go into the intricacies of it, but even certain foods, right? I mean, if you have Chinese roots, right? So in the Chinese, traditional Chinese medicine, we believe that certain foods are cooling or warm. And the truth is, when you eat certain food, it makes you angry. I feel angry, right? Certain foods relaxes you. That's more intricate. But before that, let's just try to eat properly, right? And what is eating properly? But it's just eating like how we used to eat, and taking time and really investing in the joy of eating, which we don't have anymore, because we start by teaching our kids that recess 20 minutes. Why don't you cook? Right? If you want 20 minutes, you only have 20 minutes. I believe that if we take away some time from all the other subjects, they will learn the subjects even better. I believe so. Someone from KKM is going to come after me. Kementerian Pendidikan will come after me. But yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth.
I find you fascinated. You said in the past they have 1 hour, is it?
Yeah. And look at Japan. Look at Hong Kong, Taiwan. They even make the kids cook the food. And when you look at the obesity rate, the overweight rate,
oh wow,
it's very obvious why it works. It's because when I ask, don't have to go so far, I will out my sister a bit. So I do the cooking most of the times, right? And I think we were buying a chicken, and she asked me, why is the chicken so yellow? I'm like, this is a different type of chicken. But that's not so bad. There are certain places when I ask people how many feet does chicken have, they can't answer me because everything is cut up for them. So you no longer know how the animal looks like. That tells me that you don't even have respect for the animal, right? If you have respect for your food, you won't eat, you won't waste food, you won't overeat, you know what I'm saying? So it all comes from then.
right.
Yeah, but we digress.
Yes, we went to the very mystic space.
Which we could, I could spend hours talking about it, but don't go down the rabbit hole with me, because then we could talk about one ingredient, and I'll tell you, for example, if you talk about nasi lemak.
Right.
You can spend hours talking about nasi lemak, the origins of it. Then you talk about Indonesian influence, the whole archipelago, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so I think what you get from hearing what I'm talking about is this guy is obsessed.
Yeah.
This guy is obsessed about that one thing. The way my sister talks about women and innovation and wealth and, mobilizing money for women and capital for women. And the plight of women is so strong in what she was talking. She was obsessed about it, right? Because that is her word. Her word is I've got to solve this problem of this gender gap in capital and things like that, right? Then my word is food sharing, making people eat well, things like that. Right? And you can sense it in someone when they found their word, right?
Yeah.
They found their calling, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so.
No, I agree. I think whether or not someone's into food, I think that was the moment you can see what happens when you're really into something, like as you say, you're obsessed. I just remember last time when I was a lot younger, I used to watch a lot of football.
Yeah.
And then my friends were like, this this top tier football competitions and all that. And my friends were saying like, it's so amazing. They make so much money. They're so famous and all that. And the only thing that's going on in my brain when I was looking at those players play was like, wow, so they really living their dream. Like as in I said, they're living what they want to do.
Absolutely.
Right? Like not so much about the outcome of,
Absolutely. And don't let society or anyone define what success is. You define your own success. But you've got to be practical in the sense that, if you don't want to be a investment banker, right? Investment bankers, we know earn how much, right? If I just want to be something else that doesn't earn that much, I've got to have a lifestyle that match. Am I going to be happy? If you can be happy with it, then why not? Right? It doesn't mean that every chartered accountant out there needs to become a partner, because everybody wants to be a partner, right? But how many partners are there, right? So I think don't kill yourself over like just defining that one thing, right? And don't get me wrong, if money is your thing, some people tell me, no, Abang Brian, money is my passion. Oh, great. Then make it your passion, right? But and people who are really passionate about money will never have this box. So as long as I earn money, no matter how, again, the caveat is nothing illegal. I'm not endorsing anything illegal or nothing immoral, but like find ways to earn money. Like, I think one of the, people I listen to a lot, which I think a lot of Malaysians listen to, is the Diary of a CEO, which is Stephen Bartlett. And he had one guest on the show one day, and he said, like, I don't do anything I like, but because my passion is money. My passion is money. I don't care about how I got the money. So he literally would find jobs, or like he would build businesses that people don't want to do or think of. And he's like, because I want to make money, right? So as simple as I think people were throwing away tempered glass screens or like screens that are cracked, he just decided, hey, why don't I just kind of recycle this and remake them into screens? And then I'll make money out of it, right? Do I like making screens? Who grew up? Oh, I want to grow up to be a recycler of screens or glass. No one thinks about it, but his passion is money. He saw an opportunity, he saw a gap, and he said, I saw someone else do it. In China, I saw them do it, and so I just copy. And he said, I'm not intelligent, but I'm driven by money. So that is his obsession. And whatever your obsession is, so as long as it is within legality and moral boundaries, go for it, and just be practical about your decision, and be very, very realistic to yourself.
Right.
What it means. Because if I'm happy being a farmer, it means that I cannot drive a Mercedes. But I know farmers who have driven for Rolls Royce, right? Fishmongers. They earn a lot of money, right? Don't discount them, right? But like, again, like, who's to say what's your happiness? Who's to say what is,
right,
your success?
And if someone was sort of like, this idea of, everyone thinks they like something, but, they don't really know until you try. As you mentioned, right, just now, like, for example, you don't have to jump into, to commit to that several years of like, learning cooking. Why don't you try going to the kitchen first, as an example, right? So, and also the way you started cooking was when your dad was unwell, and then so you watch YouTube, and then is it easy to learn things now? Like with how would I'm super curious how someone watching YouTube can suddenly become where you are now.
So going back to my word, when you found your word and you let it guide, and you stay on that word instead of putting like your end goal as like a job, right? That job will not evolve, but you as a person will evolve, right? And even as a chef, you could evolve until you become head chef. But after that, does it end for you? Right? And that's where people who are later on their careers, they'll be depressed because they reach the height already, and then they're like, and then what? I'm sure you felt that, right? My goal is to become CEO. Well, I'm a CEO now. Now what? Right? Because if you put so much attachment to that one title or that description that society has built a structure around, you're going to be lost. Right? And I think when you hold very strongly to your purpose without putting too many boundaries around it and let it evolve, it will evolve in so many surprising ways, and you'll meet people along the way who will be able to guide you. People will not be able to guide you or help you if you're like, hey, no, I'm this. I'm a box, I'm a box, I'm a box, I'm a box. Right? Then they're like, oh, but you could be a hexagon, right? But if you're always like, I'm a box, you're going to be a box forever. And like, then when you become a box, you truly become a box. You'll be like, so what is it about a box that I actually like? Right? So I think this is one thing, especially for the younger audience who are listening now, it's very important for you to understand. And I think being clouded by money and whatever not is something people talk about. Really, money is very important. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not those people who tell you like, oh, chase your passion, it'll become money. It did not. For me, I went broke. That's the reality of it. That's what can happen, right? But that's why I'm trying to put it into practical terms for you guys to understand that while you are chasing your passion, you've got to be practical. Passion, but practical, right? You've got to make sure that it kind of makes sense, right? For you and your lifestyle and the lifestyle that you want, right? Where do you see yourself? And do calculations lah. I mean, everyone just be realistic with yourself. Okay, if I want to live this kind of life, roughly, chef, I'm not an accountant. You all okay lah? Accountant can count everything. Today we have, all the teachers will not be happy for me saying this, but we have ChatGPT, we have Gemini. I tell you, you just ask the person to help you calculate what you need in 10 years time. They will come out with a calculation for you. You just give all the parameters, what kind of life you want to live, what kind of holidays you want to give. They'll give you a big amount. Ask yourself, how can I turn my passion to generate that income? If I cannot, maybe I should do something else first while earning some money to support myself to do that. And people who are those who are like, oh, you should jump into your passion full force 100%. You can. It's your choice. But the reality of it is, can you deal with going broke? Which I did. Right? If you can, great. Do it. Right? But recognize the fact that that might happen. Yeah.
And how do you, I mean, you have so many different hats now. You're clearly a super high energy guy. I love it.
I'm actually an introvert.
Are you introvert?
Absolutely. My sister is an extrovert. I'm an introverted extrovert. No. I am an extroverted introvert, I believe. So like, I get my energy when I teach, when I'm with people right now. I love y'all. I feel your energy. But as soon as I go home, I'm like, no one talk to me. Or like, I'm in my kitchen, I'll go to my kitchen, I'll let no one talk to me. Right? It's for the moment, I really enjoy it, but it drains me internally, I feel, and I don't feel it until I'm alone. Whereas like extroverts, they will drain energy from a crowd, and when they go home, they have even more energy, they cannot sleep. That's my sister. So imagine both of us in a household, and sometimes we go on like business trips together. We share a room, right? Don't get me started. Like, I'm done. Like, don't talk to me. Like, don't talk to me, right? But like, she's like, oh, but like, now we've got to work on this idea, this idea. I think we go down this road. No road. Sleep. Bye. Go away. Right? Yeah. So like, again, here, it's not about, there's nothing wrong with being an extrovert. Like, a lot of people go like, oh, I'm an introvert. How can I be more of an extrovert? No. It's about recognizing who you are. We're all special in our own way. And, if you can hone in on that, you will be the best version of yourself, right? Don't try to be someone else, right? If you're an introvert, admit that you're an introvert, you will make a very good accountant, for example. But to be a partner, a bit difficult. You have to do sales, you go on top of your clients, whatever. So like, identify what's your superpower and then hone in on it. Like, really, really be good at it. And I think if that's your superpower, usually it's God-given to you and you'll do well. A lot of people just try to keep on fighting life. Right. And I want to be really, 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 really realistic here. For people who are tuning in, if you have an iPhone, this message is not for you. This is for people who don't even have an iPhone, who can only dream of an iPhone. What if I need to take a bus to work every day? What if I need to literally count the money that I spend on food? How can I improve my life? How can I chase my passion? How can I chase my dream? Right? So I would say that for people like that, first and foremost, you have to have the responsibility to yourself to be able to fend for yourself, right? But also question yourself. I'm not asking you to quit your job. But how long can you do that? If you really are listening to this podcast, there's a reason you're listening to this podcast. I'm sure that if you're listening to this podcast, you are trying to move up in life, right? How long can you sustain that life and be happy, right? So, and that's one of the things that I truly believe in, education. So I've always worked and studied at the same time. Like, I used to act as well. I did a drama. And anyone who is in acting will tell you that waiting hours are very long, unless you're the superstar, which I'm not, right? I'm like always the best friend, right? In Malay drama, I'm the kota, right? So, and actually, the show that I'm talking about is I played an accountant. I left a job as an accountant to play a role as an accountant on TV. But in between, I had so much time that I actually finished my master's in that while filming that drama. Because and everyone knows, and the director always come and see me, hey, you memorize your script already or not? Because in Malaysia, we're not glamorous, right? Where we shoot mamak store. So the makeup place and all is just like a car, whatever, and then you just wait around, right? I literally will sit in front of the mamak store or on the street and open a book. And I got my master's in education for that, right? It's like if you really want it, you can do it. And I believe education is one of the ways that really, really help. Is education the end goal in the sense that will education give you everything? No. I'll tell you that. Like a piece of paper, like a degree, especially in these days, a degree, everyone has a degree, right? It's not enough, right? So what else are you bringing to the table, right? Especially with the day of AI now. What are you bringing to the table? Right? Everyone is like, okay, if you are a copywriter, how? ChatGPT can just write everything for me, ma? How? If you are a video editor even, we are now having AIs that I just put in clips that edit for me. How? Will you lose your job? If I am even a contract writer, a lawyer, will I lose my job? So I think in answering this is what we've always been saying in education. Education is just a foundation, and after that is who you are as a person, which is not ChatGPT. ChatGPT is not a person, right? So it's your experience, it's your life stories, it's everything that makes you special is your whole life that ChatGPT does not have. So when you copyright, and you copyright with your own flair, there's a difference. When you edit video and you add in your own creative spin on it, ChatGPT cannot do that. Because it's not a person. And your creativity as a videographer compared to another videographer will be different, although you went to same videography school, because of the way you view life that is built around your life experiences, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say here is education is very important, but it's also very important to learn from life. And life is constantly teaching you whether you want it or not, right? So you might as well learn, right? And I think if you just open your eyes, there's so many things that life can teach you that you can't learn in books. And
I'm really curious because you wear so many different hats. I mean, you're obviously an educator. You're a media personality, I suppose. You also run the business. Are you this? Do you bring the same person to every role? Or
absolutely. So absolutely, I was not like this, and I always thought that I had to be a certain person in certain rooms. I think two things make me different. After having been in industry for so long, and I believe that what I'm trying to share is more important, right? The message that's behind what I'm doing is more important. And that drove me to continuously do what I do. And I think anyone who knows me, kalau I borak bahasa Malaysia, kalau you tutup mata you takkan dengar pun logat. Logat Cina tak ada, memang tak ada. And then sometimes logat utara will come out, right? But that truly is what I believe Malaysia is, and that's the beauty of Malaysia, and that's one of the motivating the things that actually keep me going in entertainment industry, and why I really, really wanted to be in the entertainment industry, to blur those lines, to tell people that, hey, you know what, at the end of the day, we are all Malaysians, we are all the same, right? It doesn't mean that because I'm Chinese Malaysian or I'm Malay Malaysian or whatever, we should just all be Malaysians, right? And I did that with radio. So in radio, and I enjoyed it so much. in my time with Surya FM, the person who had the guts to bring a Chinese boy to Malay radio at that time, I respect her so much. And she knows who she is, but I was the only Chinese boy on Malay radio. Everyone looked at me weird, like, oh, because Surya FM was part of the is part of the Star Media Group, which Joe Papa is. And then whenever I come to the studio, they'll be like, oh, Joe Papa, is it? No, I don't even speak Mandarin. Because my mother tongue is Malay. My mother tongue is Malaysian. Like, I'm Malaysian, right? And so whenever I did radio, I enjoyed it so much, because people would call up and say, could I speak to DJ Ibrahim? I was like, DJ Ibrahim mana lah pula? You lah. Oh, because when I speak, I always say like, anda bersama Brian, right? Abang Brian, anda bersama Brian, anda mendengarkan Surya FM, pastikan anda bersama kami sehingga pukul 1, So when I speak, sometimes it's a bit fast. They be like, oh, the only name that sounds like Brian is Ibrahim. So in that, what I did, again, back to the calling, like, that moment of being able to share with Malaysians every single day, speaking to 1 million people every single day, proving to them that when you close your eyes, we are all the same, right? That really, truly made me happy. Did it give me good money? Not prime slot. So all those doing radio, no, not prime slot, not too bad, not too good, but not too bad also lah. But yeah, it was beyond that. Like that's where I found my joy. And like until today, would I go back to radio? One of the reasons I didn't go back to radio in Malaysia was because I left. I moved to America to be with my sister. And the other thing that made me truly own in on who being myself, because you're saying wear many hats, right? In America, everyone is just absolutely themselves, no one else, right? And I'm also like, why can't we just be? Isn't it tiring being so many people? If they can't take who you are, there's the door. I'm not saying be offensive. I'm still a Malaysian boy at heart. I know my P's and Q's. I know, I'm very, very polite and stuff like that, and always be kind. There's no reason to be mean, right? But don't apologize about who you are, right? And brings me to this thing that I really believe in. I think where you're going in with it in our conversation is, how do people truly be themselves, and how to truly shine, right? How do people find that? I think this acronym OWN, just own your story, right? Is something that will help a lot of people concretely. So O stands for own your story. Know who you are. Know who you stand for. Because if you don't, someone else will define your story for you. Work on your narrative, which means that if I want to be a videographer and I believe that I have that creative touch, work on that, right? I think my sister mentioned about 10,000 hours. It's true. If you work at something 10,000 hours, come on, dude. I am not gifted with the, and I think anyone who get straight A1s for your SPM will know. I don't think everyone loves biology or chemistry or physics. I don't. I got A1 because I spent so many hours on it. If you spend at least 10,000 hours on something, I believe that you will be at least good at it, right? And then OWN. N is to name your price. Once you own your own story, you have worked on your narrative, you're confident about it, name your price. Name your worth. Know what you're worth because you've done the work, right? And I think everyone to today, believe me, I have met CEOs, I have met people who manage billions of dollars, and a lot of people still don't know their worth. They will still feel like everyone feels, like, really, especially being Malaysian, right? We're not taught to be like, it's not about being boastful, It's just owning what you actually are and your worth, right? It's not about bangga-bangga or or Melayu kita kata, jangan riak. It's not about riak. It's about valuing yourself, respecting yourself, and demanding that. Even when you go for a job interview and you tell your boss, don't say, I don't want to do this, right? Just say, oh, these are my skills. I believe that this is something that I would be able to do within this time frame. And if not, I may not be skilled there. I can learn. But for what I'm worth, what skill I have and I'm good at, I think I should deserve this much. Ask for it in a polite way. I think your boss will actually respect you for that, right? And you will respect yourself so much more for that. And that's most important because your boss don't see you every day, honestly. You see yourself every day. right? You brush your teeth, you see yourself. You can't run away from yourself, right? And that's the biggest, I think your biggest boss is yourself. So like, yeah.
I wonder sometimes it's a bit of like an Asian culture.
It is absolutely. Even in America, it is a narrative with Asian Americans because we carry this with us wherever we go because we are brought up that way. We are brought up that way. I think for the Chinese community, it's always keep your heads down and just do the work, right? Don't have to scream and shout, just do the work, right? For the Malay community, it's a sin. It's a sin to be so riak. It's a sin to like boast too much, right? And, so I think culturally it's embedded with us. It is not a bad thing because I've seen the other end of it where people are too boastful. And like, you see it whenever you travel around the world. And I've been in rooms where I'm like, wait, what do you do? So like they describe like, very fancy like that. Oh, you mean you are marketing manager, is it? You know what I'm saying? So there's no need for that. But like, if you have and you know who you are and your talents, just name your price because you have done the work.
Right. I love that. I learned something new. I'm going to ask myself this question actually.
Yeah. And actually, this is something that I think in the things that I say, again, the younger generation don't know who Oprah is. But
oh, don't they? I thought she's like so legendary.
Certain countries, they don't know Oprah. This one don't know Oprah. Hey, you, the cameraman, you don't know Oprah. But yeah, so Oprah owns her TV network is called OWN. And that's why I was like, OWN, yeah, OWN. Own your story.
Right.
Work on your narrative.
Right.
And then name your price. And you should be fine. But like, I think from the beginning of the conversation is we concentrate a lot on the O. Because working on your narrative, I think especially, again, if you're listening in, I believe you're working on your narrative, right? But just don't give up on working. But make sure you work really hard. Right. But by virtue that you're listening to Hello Mentor, I believe you're one of those type of people that are trying very hard at working on a narrative. But the O is very important. Owning your story.
Right.
Yeah. Because if you don't know your word, your calling, your purpose, then...
Yeah. I have two last questions before we wrap up. First one, I was very curious because obviously you did say that, instead of like just thinking about chasing a purpose or passion, I think about what is that word, right, that drives you, right? And that gives you a kind of a broader framework to know where you're moving, right? And not becoming too narrow. If you operate this kind of like mindset, do you still have some destination that I'm asking for you personally, like Abang Brian, like where does Abang Brian go? Let's say a few years down the road.
So, by virtue that I guide my life with a word, I don't have a final destination. I have multiple destinations that I want to go to, but I don't have a final destination because, like anyone who has had a final destination, they would have had this experience. You would feel like literally depressed after you reach that destination. Because you associate, and I run marathons, and this is how I know. People who run marathons, literally you can go into depression after you finish 42 kilometers. Because you have been working so hard to that finish line. And when we do training, it's not like, 1 month. It's like a year, right? We're preparing for one little thing, and you focus just on that, and you finish the crossing line. Besides the biology that's working because of all the endorphins, you are tired, everything else. Mentally, you're like, so this is it. What now? I can tell you 9 out of 10 people who said that they have a goal and that they achieve the goal, at the moment they achieve the goal, they'll be like, so what now? Or like, ni je ke? It's because you're so focused on the end result instead of that word that have guided you all the while. You've forgotten about the journey. You've forgotten about like what can evolve after that. Because you box yourself out, ma. Your end destination is the end box, ma. That end line of that box, right? So then you don't know where to go with that. But so I guess to answer you where Abang Brian is going, the multiple destinations that I have is one of my biggest passion, of course, is food and culture. I want to do my best in preserving Asian food culture and heritage across the world. I'm doing that through my podcast, which is called The Hungry Immigrant. And that will be data that will support my publications. And I hope that this will contribute to the body of knowledge of human beings. And that would be kind of my legacy. But also more concretely, I'm called back to Malaysia to basically care for someone who has cancer. And I believe that my next step is to, and I'm going through this again, right? With my father, we've had a journey of cancer. This is the second time in our life that we are going through cancer again. And I look at my cancer book and I'm laughing at myself. So I think I need to update that book because with the advancement in medications and direction that medicine has now for cancer patients, one of the things is that they have to make sure that they eat nutritious food that are freshly made. So I have been cooking 5 meals a day, and every single time, as soon as I cook the meal, the person eats it, right? But I'm a chef, and I have the freedom because I wear so many hats to like say, guys, you all chill. I need to do this right now, right? But not everyone has that ability to, first of all, take a break from work. They have work. How can I be cooking 5 times a week for someone else as a caregiver? But on top of that, if you are going through it yourself, all the recipes out there are Western based. There's so much source of information that we are like, oh, do we go on this kind of diet for cancer? We don't know, right? So I think my next obsession is to come up with a game plan, a very tactical and practical game plan for people who are going through cancer and people who are caring for others who have cancer. It may be in a form of a cooking book. It may be a form of a series that I would kind of plug into my podcast. But I want to find a way to share with others my journey and share with them all these practical ways on surviving cancer and supporting people who have cancer. Because again, I cannot imagine if you are listening in Malaysia, correct me if I'm wrong, National Cancer Society of Malaysia, I hope I don't let you down. 1 in 5 Malaysians will go through cancer in their lifetime. So in this room now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 2 of us will get cancer, right? But there's not enough data out there that is culturally sensitive towards who we are as Asians, right? When it comes to food. I'm not a doctor, right? Again, calling, okay? Don't go and try to be a doctor now, right? Abang Brian, I know who you are. Be that, right? So what's my superpower? My superpower is food. My superpower is translating experiences into practical items that people can also benefit in their lives, right? So, yeah, that's basically my next obsession, to turn this experience into publications in academia, into something that's consumable by the mass. And truly, for anyone who's listening right now, if you are dealing with cancer, or if you know of anyone who is dealing with cancer, that's why I'm called Abang Brian. I'm your Abang. I'm here, and I want to help. So, don't be afraid. You are not alone. If you feel that way, if you are lost, someone out there is also feeling the same way as you do. So I want to take all this pain, the experience that I have, and turn it into something that can help others. And if you feel that you would like to be part of this journey, the person who is going to be joining me and my sister in our organization, the person that we're looking for, will be also playing a very big role in sculpting this. I don't know. I'm just telling you now, right? Whether I had an idea of doing a cooking book, no. Derek, I just came up with the idea right now. Right? Because my intention was like, hey, you know what? I can't be the only person who feels this way. I can't be the only person who's like, oh my God, it's so difficult to cook for cancer patients. Oh my God, it's like all the recipes out there are also Western. I cannot eat roast chicken every single day. I want my char kway teow. Is char kway teow okay? Right? How can I make char kway teow okay? Maybe some people will say si ham not so good. But how can I make char kway teow okay? Because I'm going to crave it. But then bak kut teh cannot lah. Why bakute cannot? You better ask your doctor. Can or cannot? You better ask your doctor. I'm not a doctor. So I want to work with the medical society to come up with something, which I have done in the past. But I think it needs an update. It needs to be more practical, so that people can just be part of a community or be part of open a cookbook or turn on a channel or go to social media, go to one place and go like, oh my God, Abang Brian, I don't know what to do. I have a solution for you every single day. Every single weekend, this is what you need to do, right? Then you can deal with your emotions. How do you deal with your emotions? Oh my God, I'm not a psychologist. Let me get a psychologist or a therapist to help you out with that, right? So I want to find ways to kind of help people who are dealing with this, because the statistics in Malaysia is not encouraging, but there is hope. What I will tell people who are facing cancer right now is that based on our experience 13 years ago, was it 14 years ago, and now, oh my God, it's so different. To all the doctors, to all the researchers out there, thank you so much for all the work that you do, because now it's so different. It's a message of hope. Rather than a death sentence. Back then, it was a death sentence. As soon as you get cancer, especially if it's stage 4, it's a death sentence. But now it's a message of hope, because medicine has advanced so much. The way we deal with patients have advanced so much, right? So, by virtue that a lot of people are going to be dealing with this, I just want to help them in their journey using my superpower, okay? Which is, and my word, which is share. I want to share with everyone how to deal with this. Yeah. And that's one of the milestones, one of the destinations. And then after that, I'll find another way. And I am walking the talk, right? I let life teach me, right? The word was share. Before life happened, before cancer happened to my family again, I am already a private chef, teaching on one of the most prestigious schools in the United States of America, cooking for people in houses in Beverly Hills, New York. The best places that a private chef would want. And I'm living my dream. I'm happy. But if I thought that was my final destination, when life gave me this kind of happening, this diagnosis, I would be so broken. I'm not going to say that I'm not broken, but I am broken. But I'm glad I have this word to accompany me, to be able to like still find purpose in everything that I do. And I'm still happy every single day. And yeah, so find your word.
And so instead of that, like a last question, maybe we can make this like a closing thought you want to give to our audience, right? Mm-hmm. Because obviously a lot of young people out there who, it's always this pressure to do well or to at least show that you're doing well, right? And especially in the age of like social media and all that. But even for someone like yourself, I mean, you are living like the dream lah, right? Like I said, you're living a very interesting life. Right? Yeah, that's the dream for you, right? And you're living a very interesting life. There are many people who trade places to you, but at the same time, there are also many things that you have to wrestle with on the personal level. Many challenges that people may or may not see, right? And so I guess a message to the people out there who are trying, they want to be successful, but it's so hard to deal with the whatever personal struggles they might have, the difficulty of dealing with the uncertainty of life itself. Like just because you want it doesn't mean you get to have it. Yeah. You might have to go through a phase where you're broke. Yeah. Is it just a phase or is it alien? What message would you give to people?
Just go back to the acronym that we're talking about, OWN, right? The O is very important, right? Really own your story, own who you are, right? If you don't like uncertainties, my sister loves uncertainties. It thrills her. Right? The thought that there's a possibility of certain deals to be made. I am an auditor. I am an accountant. I like 1 + 1 = 2. If uncertainty is not something that is who you are, why torture yourself? Find something that is certain. But within that, there is some uncertainty as well, right? Something called life. But at least you are able to limit it, right? That's why I say, like, you have to know who you are first before you are able to be happy. Right? And I think if you start with O and then W and then N, you'll be fine. Right? But a lot of people straight away go to the W. Right? I'm working on the narrative. I'm working so hard because this is success. But what is success to you? Start with the O. That's why it's OWN and not NOW. right? People always name their price first, right? So it's OWN for a reason, right? So start with the O, and I think a lot of people need to define their O by themselves. Shut off social media, shut off everything, and just be with your thoughts. I know for a very fact, right now, there are even 2 young people are looking at their phones right now. Because, and that's worrisome for me because they're not with their own thoughts, right? When you go into a lift, jangan terasa. But it's true. When you go into a lift, I'm talking to the person who is using the phone. When you're going to the lift, right? How many people actually look down on their phone immediately? What is wrong with just standing still and just being okay and looking around and being with your thoughts? And I think the one thing that is scary right now is that sometimes now, if you ask yourself, even in your own thoughts, when you shut off social media just for a while, which people can only shut off for maybe 1 hour, the thing that is going through your mind, is it yours? Is it truly yours? One easy way to see this is just take your phone, your friend's phone, and your mom's phone. If you all have Instagram, open it and open the suggested page, the explore page. It's all different. It's all catered to you. Your ChatGPT talks different to you than it talks to me. So then ask yourself, actually, inside my head, my thoughts, or what I think is who I am, is that really who you are? It's a lot of hocus pocus lah. It sounds like very hocus pocus, but I think that people need to take a break from social media. And my brand manager and all, they're not happy with me, but sometimes I just go, I don't post anymore. Why do I post? And like, I'm not on TikTok. I have an account and I don't have 20,000 followers just like that. But like, everyone's asking me to go on TikTok because as an educator, TikTok is going to ban me. I used to work for TikTok. But like, just be very careful. And I think do your research. TikTok China, in where it's from, is different from TikTok versions here. There are countries that have banned TikTok for a reason. Again, I don't want to be sued by TikTok. I'm just trying to tell you that make educated choices. Know what you're getting into, right? I'm not saying that it's all bad. It can be good. It can be used for good, right? The way it is used in China, it is very good, right? But yeah, there's definitely a reason why certain people are banning it. I'm not going to go to politics or economics of it, but like, yeah. So back to your question is just OWN. Start with your O. And I think that's my closing thought for everyone. Like, do you even know your story?
Love it. Thank you, Abang Brian, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Wow, I love the energy. I would definitely contest that you're an introvert. I do not think so. There's no way that introvert will have this level of energy coming out any moment in the day. So,
okay. If you can, and there's proof online. Actually, there's proof online. One last thing, just a light note to end on. I used to do home shopping, and I'm now one of the listed hosts for QVC in the US. So home shopping is something that is live, right? So everything is captured, and there are certain recording of me on CJ Wow Shop last time, and it's online in YouTube, where I don't know the camera is on. The camera is still on my face, and suddenly it becomes the introvert one. And then in my ear, my producer like, Brian, your face. Cause like, I'm done being like the extra. I'm not faking it. It's real energy. But after that, I'm done. No, camera's still on. But yeah, just on a lighter note, yeah. So whatever it is, just own it, own your story, figure out your O. And yeah, just be happy. Because like, if you go tomorrow, you might as well be happy. Okay. And I brought with me some of my books, and I'm going to give you one of this.
oh wow.
And I hope you enjoy it. Oh, thank you so much. So this is the latest one, which is written with the Kidney Society of Malaysia, National Kidney Foundation of Malaysia.
Right.
And it's for kidney patients actually, but it is all Malaysian recipes. So the only thing that you'll tweak, I actually write in there how you can tweak it to be a little bit more palatable for people who are not going through hemodialysis. This is for people going through hemodialysis, so it's like not too much salt, not too much water, and things like that. But yeah, I'm waiting to update my cooking book, which I wrote with the Cancer Society of Malaysia, which is no longer available. But like when I look back at this book, I will laugh. So stay tuned. Maybe when I come back next time, I'll bring along the next book.
Is this like the original?
This is the original. Wow. This is the original that I do not recommend to anyone. But yeah, I will definitely be back, and my next destination is to be back with another version of this, so that people have a game plan to deal with cancer.
And Brian, thank you for this.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for having me. And yeah,
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. All right, thanks for hanging out with us and getting to the end of the episode. If you like this, follow us or hit the subscribe button. It will help us bring on more amazing guests and makes the whole show better for you. So thanks again, and see you in the next one.